Welcome to State of Awareness. My name is Wright. I'm just gonna get right into this. Having, wanting, and needing. Okay, they're all different states of consciousness, all different identities that people identify with. So let's talk from the standpoint of having. Having isn't an emotion. Having isn't trying to convince yourself. Having is a knowing. And knowing is awareness, because the ego doubts and awareness is knowing, because awareness is all knowing of all facets of state of consciousness. It's simply just recognizing that it's already yours in consciousness. That's what having is, okay? So when you see it in your mind's eye, when you see it in imagination, that's when you know you have it. In A Course in Miracles, it says, whatever you accept to be true will be true for you. Wanting is lack dressed up as desire, okay? So, it's how we always want stuff. We always are hoping for things. We're always wishing for things, but that's still implying that it's not here right now, that you don't have it already. That would be ego, because the ego gets so hooked on desires and hooked on objects that it's like, my fulfillment is in this object, therefore I need it now. Needing object or a desire is the most contracting state, because people feel like, oh, this object, I need it, I can't live without it, I need them to message me, I need them to be with me, I need this, I need to fill a void. Okay, so that void, when you're needing something, that's something within you that you're just projecting onto other people to fill for. Okay, so when you're looking to objects to fill yourself, you're not going to get anywhere, because the ego gets so hooked on that object that when the object's gone, you go into turmoil. You start freaking out. You don't know what to do anymore, because all your happiness and love and enjoyment was in that object to the ego's perception. So therefore, you're in turmoil. You're desperate. You're going crazy. Your mind's going 100 miles an hour. You're checking your phone constantly. You're looking on Facebook. That's the most contracting state. So in the law of one, you can't need anything, okay? Because you're never separate from anything, all right? This is why I teach the ego so heavily, because people get so hooked on desires and thinking that they need it, that they forget that they're never separate from it. This is how you know that you have something, because we have an imagination. We're able to see it in our mind's eye and accept it as true. But it's that ego that comes in with the doubt, fear, and worry that people get tripped up on. This is why people get so hung up on self-concept and trying to convince an ego that needs your attention to survive in order to get something. It's like, oh, we got to convince the ego that, oh, we need this object, we already have it now, I'm just going to convince myself and say 10,000 affirmations. Listen, you can place something within your awareness in that kind of state, but it's going to be brutally forced. You're going to be repeating affirmations constantly over and over and over again, and it's not necessary. When we're wanting and needing something, that's living in separation, so that you're living as an ego. Like, I want this object, when really you should start saying, so say the ego drops you a desire, saying, oh, I want that object. Start accepting that you already have it internally, and then go live your life. Go do stuff and allow consciousness to do its job. Having is unity. Having the object, having the desire already fulfilled within. This doesn't mean you have to go chase a feeling and just feel all sorts of emotions. No, it's a recognition. It's a deciding. It's a decision. It's on point. You already have it internally. It makes sense, because why the hell will we have an imagination if we were operating through an ego lens, always treating things as separate? Because we wouldn't be able to visualize, we wouldn't be able to think, and we wouldn't be able to imagine them, okay? We can bring them to our mind's eye. We already have it internally. We just have been operating as egos, not allowing it to unfold for us, because boom, we get sucked into circumstances. Boom, we get sucked onto text messages that like the ego's trying to interpret. We get sucked into the whole aspect of the ego constantly trying to interpret our reality for us, when we're not the ego to begin with. And you don't need to force yourself to feel like you already have it. You just stop feeding the fear of wanting and needing, okay? Because you don't need to do that. Because you notice how coaches and other people say, oh, it's already done. It's done. It's done. That's how it is. It's literally like that. But you don't need to convince yourself that, oh, I already have it, so therefore it's done. And you just keep trying to do it from a perception of a belief structure. Like, oh, I gotta form this new belief. You don't have to do that. Desires aren't the issue here, okay? It's good to have desires, because it propels you to move forward. It causes you to grow. But it's the ego's needing of the desire is the issue here. It's the misidentification that, oh, this object is going to complete me. No, you're already whole and complete as awareness. You can allow things to come in without needing and wanting it. Yes, you can want things and desire things. Don't get me wrong, but it's that ego attachment to it, because it's attachment to outcomes, control, and separation. Those are the three beliefs of the ego. So if you're attached to this object, you're expecting an outcome, and then you're trying to control it by forcing all of these affirmations within you, and then you're treating it as separate. See how that's a contradiction? That doesn't work in the manifestation realm unless you're brute forcing the whole entire thing, okay? You don't need to exhaust yourself on this journey, okay? You need to stop listening to what the mind has to say about this shit. And I always talk about how it's always a recognition, okay? Awareness doesn't need, chase, or want anything because it already recognizes that it already has it internally, okay? But we allow experiences to happen for us so we can get either, like, you know how they talk about bridge of incidences? That's not, I don't really use that term, but allow yourself to experience and express. Have experiences get presented to you. You'll realize, you'll see a drastic shift in your energy once you stop identifying as an ego, stop identifying as the mind, stop identifying as the character. So having equals awareness, okay? Wanting equals desire, and needing equals fear, okay? So if you already are awareness, because that's the only real thing that cannot be threatened, okay? And if you're not the ego, claiming these desires as something separate from you, and you're not being an ego needing the desire and operating in fear as if you can't live without it, all you're left with is awareness. You don't need to identify as the ego, treating everything as separate. So I'm going to close with this. Remember, desires aren't the problem. It's needing the desire that is the issue here. So once you stop identifying as an ego, you'll notice a natural detachment. You'll notice a natural having, a natural knowing. Once you stop identifying as the mind, because something has to be aware of the mind, something has to be aware of the thoughts that are appearing and disappearing, okay? So when you catch yourself constantly looking through the 3D, constantly checking for shit, you know you're operating in a world of illusions at that point, and you're operating as an ego, all right? I love all you guys. You guys are perfect and amazing, and I'll talk to you later.